Hi there, my name's Evan Short. You're on mute. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I am live. It's December the 8th. Gonna have... Oh, that is my GoPro. You know why I have the GoPro head cam out today? Because I did an unboxing. That's right, I'll be uploading that later on. Let me just turn it off so it's not completely annoying. The GoPro is excellent. Battery life is terrible. And it's incredibly hot. But yeah, watch out for that video later on. That should be fun. And welcome. So December the 8th. Are you ready for the holidays? I want to give you a quick update on my channel. Because I've been watching that closely. I'm very excited right now. I'm currently at, and I won't keep doing this by the way, just until I get to 10K, 9934. So if you've got any friends that like music gear, and may be interested in my performances, hanging out, discussing gear, I think we're going to have a very exciting year next year regarding gear. I think a lot of gear was not released because of the pandemic, and I think there's going to be lots of stuff going around, lots of improvements with technology and things like that. So send them a link to my channel, invite them into the chat, and to give their opinions as well, because I want to learn from people too, of course. I have 2 questions to go into detail for today, and I will do that in a second. But first of all, I want to say hi to everybody. So... Of course, David Belcher was first. Good job, David. Says, good morning, Aaron, everyone in the chat. Hope your day is off to a good start. Yes, it is. I'm being very busy right now. I've been doing a lot of sorting out. I'm trying to catch up on all the videos for this year before I go into next year. I don't want to go into next year having videos I haven't done, because when you make YouTube videos, that can happen. You can decide to make certain videos. You can be asked to make certain videos, have commitments and things to do. And you never get less stuff to do. Because even if you finish all those videos, there's another one that you thought of yesterday. Or like with me, there's something that I want to do tomorrow. I have plans to do courses and things. That would take a lot of my time and commitment of time. So I want to clear out the backlog, sell a few things on, move a few guitars that I'm not playing at all, review them, sell them, and then next year I can start afresh and I can do some brand new videos, obviously with the same kind of themes, but with new, either things I haven't covered yet that I want to cover, like performance, lessons, courses, like I said, and then I can also look at new gear. I've heard rumors of new things that are coming. Of course, I want to look at that. I haven't even done any videos yet on some products that I really love, so I have to catch up and then do that. And I think this is a good time to do it. I also think this is a good time to do it because there hasn't been much news this week, but the news is that Reverb will now be sending out 1099s. So if you sell over $600 a year next year on Reverb, you will get a 1099 tax form. Now, of course, you're supposed to declare that money anyway, so this is nothing that really should be that shocking, but it is another thing to be aware of with the whole gear thing. I know a lot of people now are selling privately and in groups. I wonder if they'll be doing that in those groups too. For example, Facebook Marketplace is a good place to sell. I wonder if they'll go down the same route. So I guess a lot of people on Reverb are businesses, and Reverb is a business as well. So just things to be aware of. But yeah, I'm trying to get caught up before next year. So Jim says, geez, David, you're first again? How do you do it? David Belcher says, yep, good morning, Jim. Jim says, hi from Vermont. It's still the morning in Oregon. It's 1 p.m. where I am. Patsy Smith says, hello from a very cold and windy Suffolk, UK. It's also cold and rainy where David is. And T says, good evening, Aaron. Good evening, all. Where are you, T? Excuse the planes. You always know the weather where I am. If there's any cloud, the planes fly low and you hear them. If there's no cloud, the planes fly higher and you don't hear them. So if you ever hear planes flying, it's usually raining, but it's definitely grim and cloudy. So that's how you know. And I just accept it now. For example, if I do a video and there's a plane, well, I try to reshoot and cut that part out if I can, but what can I do? I can't not shoot a video because there's planes flying above. Brad says, evening all from a wet and windy Bedfordshire. So it seems like it's wet and windy in most places. Well, it is December, so that makes sense. That totally makes sense. All right. So thank you this week for anyone that bought me a coffee. I really appreciate it. It means a lot. And I also sold the Soundhole Sniffer merchandise on Thursday. Hope you got in on that. That was a one-day sale, 15% off. But let's get started with a question. Like I said, there's not really any news this week as such. There's been no software updates. There was a software update for my Apollo Twin, which I foolishly installed on Monday before our live stream. But I haven't really noticed much difference with that. Hopefully it's working fine. There's been no news. I've heard rumors about a new Helix update. They're going to do like a 0.5 and then a full update soon. I think that's going into beta soon. So you might see me go live in a few weeks talking about a new update for the Line 6. I'd like to revisit the Line 6 Helix anyway. That would be fun to do. I have some news. Like I said, I did an unboxing today, which I'll upload later. So you can watch that later on today. I won't spoil it for you. Let me know if you've got any new gear or any new gear problems. I'm sure you've got some gear problems, right? I have those all the time. Jasper's here. Good to see you. Been a while. Good evening from Barcelona. Cold but clear. I love the food in Barcelona. Well, I did when I went there 15 years ago. I'm sure it's still just as good. And Southwest Island area. So, T, can I just assume that it's raining where you are? Or am I completely wrong and it's sunny? Let me know in the chat. Maybe I'm just... Maybe I'm completely wrong to say that, right? So let's get started with the first question, because this is actually a topic I've been wanting to speak about anyway. So I'm kind of glad I got the question, and it gives me a reason to speak about this. And I've got another question that I got today, actually, on Facebook. So I'm going to address both of these because they're things that I have thoughts about. So the first question came from Zane. Thank you, Zane. And Zane said, "Hi, Aaron. Thank you for your excellent channel." Well, first of all, thank you for the kind words. I appreciate that. I need support, you know. The kind words really help. I'm an insecure musician. No, I'm not. May I ask, what is your view of installing the High Vibe French system? French system? Oh, it's French? Okay. I don't know where it's made, but the High Vibe system in a Maton OM42. Are there any reviews about it with Maton guitars? So, here's my policy on the channel. If I try something or I'm asked to review something and I don't really like it, or it just doesn't work for me, then I usually don't talk about it. I usually don't make that review. And I'd like to know your thoughts on this as well. If I'm doing the right thing with this, please do let me know. So I have tried the system. I heard about it at a NAMM show. And as you know, I support anyone that furthers the acoustic guitar, because the acoustic guitar is very traditional. I love the Martins and the classic acoustic guitars. I also love the Rain Song. The Rain Song is quite an adventurous thing to do, isn't it? An all-carbon guitar that sounds great. That's great. The High Vibe promises built-in looping, reverb, delay, chorus. Really exciting stuff. And all the reviews I've seen on it have been excellent. So I really want to check it out. So I have checked out their top of the range guitar with the system built in. And here are my thoughts, which I haven't yet really spoke about. First of all, I didn't like the guitar very much because it just felt very stiff and not very resonant. So I want to put that out there first of all. Maybe I didn't like the guitar, and that's obviously a huge part of it. The action also needed to be set up, but I never did that. So if I try that system again, and I do want to try it again, make that clear. I don't hate it. That guitar didn't work for me. The guitar I couldn't get on with. So the first thing I would do is I would try a different guitar. So this whole idea of taking the system and installing it in your Martin, which you can do, is a good one. It's a good idea, right? That's a good idea. Get a guitar you like and then install the system into that guitar. But bear with me, Zane, if you're watching this, which I hope you are, stay with me because I haven't finished yet. The idea of a guitar you like already is a good idea, but not a Martin OM42, and I'll get into that in a second. The second part of this is the system itself. I didn't feel like it was that impressive. Like the looper, yeah, okay, it plays back the sound, which is great, but the sound you hear back is kind of muffled. And to be fair, it's playing back through the guitar itself, not through a high fidelity speaker. And a guitar body is not a high fidelity speaker. So bear with me again. I'm used to hearing loops back through high fidelity speakers like the JBL and my studio monitors and my in-ears. So of course, to me, who's used to hearing that really high quality sound of a pickup back to myself, maybe through IRs, that didn't really impress me because I was hearing a lo-fi sound from the guitar. Still very impressive, still very useful, but bear in mind that it's adding weight and it's got limitations that a pedal wouldn't have. So I kept thinking, well, I'd rather be using my pedals. And again, maybe that's because I'm used to my pedals. So bear that in mind. The thing that really bugged me were the bugs. There was bugs in the app, which meant it wasn't working right. And this whole app thing has been a thing with me for months now. I keep talking about it with different companies. And I understand that there's been the pandemic and there's a lot of pressure and it's expensive to make these apps. But if I buy something, or if I don't buy something, if I use something and it has an app, I want the app to work with it. I expect the app to work with the product and not have any bugs. Now, there were some bugs. Other people didn't talk about them. Maybe you don't need to use the app with it, so you don't care about the bugs. I, as a reviewer and suggesting things to you watching the channel, if something has bugs, I think I'd have to talk about that. So that was kind of a red flag for me. And I ended up saying to them, okay, take the guitar back. When the bugs are all fixed, then send me the guitar. Or I would say send me another guitar because I didn't really love that particular guitar. So send me a different guitar with the bugs fixed in the app. I'll update the app and I'll do it again and I'll make a review. But that was months ago and they still haven't updated the app. So again, that's fine, but they haven't updated the app. So I haven't tried it again. Once those bugs are ironed out, I would love to try that or one of those guitars again. I think the idea is great. And again, they can improve it with software. So that's cool. But that wasn't a very good experience for me. So when you said, should I put the system in an OM42? The first thing I thought was do not do that, because that's the wrong guitar to do that with, in my opinion. An OM42 is a very nice, expensive, beautiful guitar. And if you're going to cut a hole in the side of it to install that system, I don't think you should do it at all. Now, the Rain Song has a system in the side. And let's talk about this. This is going to be a long answer. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you got a coffee in your Soundhole Sniffer mug. I'm not even looking at the chat. I'll come to that in a second. I'm trying to get everything I want to say in this answer. People don't like cutouts in the side of an acoustic guitar. And I agree, they don't look natural. They can look ugly. When they have a purpose, it's great. Like the preamp in this guitar is great because it's the Rain Song. It's been done at the factory. I can make adjustments on the fly. Not that I often do, but I think that's fine. That's great. It is what it is. Do I need it? Maybe I don't. I could just have them in the sound hole, the controls in the sound hole. But anyway, I'm kind of indifferent. That's a stage guitar for me as well, and it's got the preamp in the side. Okay, whatever. The thing with the high vibe is you're cutting into the guitar, you're adding weight to the guitar, and you've got to use the app as well, and the app is buggy. So what I don't want you to do is to cut into an OM42 and then decide that wasn't a good idea. Especially, I mean, if you've got massive disposable income and you're going to buy an OM42 for an experiment, then be my guest. And I'm not saying that in a weird way. That's, I don't want to tell you what to do either way. I've done some experiments on expensive guitars myself, and I guess that's where I learned my lesson. I would say if you want to do this, why not buy a used guitar that has the system and try the system for the system itself. And if you decide you love it and you want that with you all the time, then consider either an OM28 or lower, or if you really love it and you know you want it in that OM42, then do it. But I guess what I'm trying to say is I had some negative thoughts, some issues, and the bugs and things. I can't recommend that you do that to an OM42 because I also love OM42s, and you are going to be doing something that you can't undo. So that's my opinion. So I hope that makes sense. Now, if you're watching this and you've tried that system, let me know what you think in the comments because I read so many positive reviews of this system. People love it, but then I feel like that's fine. Maybe because I come from all these pedals that I use, all these loopers and effects pedals, maybe I'm used to a certain sound and that to me isn't giving me that sound that I'm looking for. So if you've tried the high vibe system, let me know in the chat. And again, I want to put it on record. I do want to try it again, but I'm very hesitant lately to talk about products where the software is not finished. Now, I know software is never finished, and that's the beauty of software. They can always improve it and add things. That's great. But when there's bugs and things that don't work, that's not cool. That's effectively broken, right? And it should be fixed. I believe it should be fixed immediately on release, and then immediately when a bug is found, some companies will issue a software update within a few days or a week. Like Ecamm Live is great. There's bugs in Ecamm Live and they release new versions, but they usually fix them within a few days or a week. You don't get bugs hanging around. Well, I say that. There are a couple of little bugs that I've found that are still there, but nothing really serious or a showstopper. And they're very quick at releasing updates for things that are showstoppers. So just to clarify, the ones in the high vibe are not showstoppers, but they were annoying for me. I think when I review stuff for the channel now, I'm very critical. I'm really looking. I don't ever want to recommend something that I think you might purchase and have a problem with. Having said that, all gear has bugs. Heck, my TC Play Acoustic has a bug where when you turn it on and you have a switch 6 connected or a switch 3, you have to, and the boost is turned on, the bug is that the boost is on when you turn it on. And to reset that, you have to press the boost button twice before you play. Now, I've been doing that for the last 5 years, and they don't update the firmware anymore on those pedals. So maybe I'm contradicting myself. I still think that's a great pedal, but I've accepted that they don't issue updates for that anymore. It's end of life. Still love it, still use it every night. Great pedal, but that's end of life and I accept it. With something new that's really fresh in the market, that's trying to prove itself, I don't know, I think updates should be coming regularly. Again, that's just my opinion. What do I know? I don't own a business that makes products, but that's just my feeling. I get very uncomfortable when a new product comes out and it's half finished. Some people would say that about the Quad Cortex, but what it does really well. Yes, I wish there was a looper. I wish there was different ways of controlling it, but the actual tones, and it's an amp modeler, right? And the actual models sound great, so I'm okay with that. This is a whole new video I'm getting into here. But anyway, that's my short answer. My Aaron short answer is do not do anything to an OM42 without being sure. Try the system first. They have a return policy, so try it. If you love it, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. If you can get a used one, great, because you can sell it on for what you bought it for, as long as you pay a good price for it. If you love it and you want it all the time, go ahead and put it in the OM42 or an OM28. That's fine. But just don't rush into modifying beautiful guitars when you can't undo it. That's all. Is that a good answer? I think I deserve a round of applause for that. Wow. That turned into a total rant. So let me know in the chat if you agree with me or not. If you don't, that's fine too. And if you've tried it, I want to hear from you. So T says the wild storm hit yesterday. Got 4 seasons today. Oh wow. Jasper says, when it's cloudy and rainy, they normally change to another runway. They want to land with headwinds. Ah, that's why. Regards from an airline captain. Ah, thank you. I didn't know. I didn't know why that was. I assumed it was something like that. Westerly winds are normally predominant during rainy days. Right. I assumed, and I know nothing about planes or the weather, so I just assumed when it was cloudy, I thought they were maybe flying lower so I could hear them. But of course, that doesn't make any sense. They're flying a different direction. You're right. So I hear them fly. Okay. Thank you. See, I learn something every week, whether it's about gear or airplanes. This is great. All right. I got a question from Jim. I'll answer your question and then I'll go to my next question that I had today because it's about the Maton guitars. And I want to talk about those today too. So Jim says, yesterday I got a new guitar day. Very cool. New guitar day. It's a late 1960s, early 1970s Harmony 12-string model, 919, like a triple O. It went right to the guitar doctor. Very good. Do you know if the Peterson Strobo Plus can be programmed with alternate tunings for a 12-string guitar? Oh, that's a great question. Now, what do you mean? I need more info. Obviously, if you mean, let's say you want the 12-string to be in Dadgad, you would just do Dadgad, right? That would work fine because the low E, if you're tuning it down to a D, you have 2 E strings effectively, right? You have the low E and then you have the octave above. So you would just tune them both to that D and it would register both of them. That would be no problem. For a second there, I thought you were talking about tuning, and I'm not an expert in 12 strings, by the way, but for a second there, I thought you were talking about tuning each of the 12 strings to a different pitch. That would be some crazy alternate tuning. I don't think you mean that, do you, Jim? But clarify in the chat for me. And then while you're doing that, I'm going to look up your guitar so we can all share this new guitar day together. So it's a 1970s Harmony model 919 12 string. Okay. Let me see if I can even find it on Google. I presume that I can. I actually can't even find a picture of it, Jim. Is it that rare? Harmony 919. Harmony 919. I can't find it. So if you want to send me some pictures, I'll put my email address on the screen. If you want, if you want to, you can send them now. If not, send them for next week. I'll show them next time. Oh, okay. Open D. Yeah. So you just do the same, right? Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. I don't own a 12 string, but if you're doing open G, let's say you're doing open D, and on a 6 string, yes, you can do that. You can either know what open D tuning is and just use the tuner in chromatic mode and just think, okay, I know the low E should be a D, so I'll just tune that to a D. Obviously, that's the easiest way of doing it. Or you can set open D on the tuner itself, and then it will tell you what to do. And then if you've got a 12 string, like I said, you'll tune the very lowest string to a D, and then that octave above string on that same string, you know what I mean, down the same, and the screen will still say D. So you don't need a special tuner to tune a 12 string. Okay, you just tune both strings to the D, and then both strings to the G, and then both strings to the D, and then both F sharp, whatever it is. Yeah. Harmony 12. Yeah, I was trying to find the exact model, Jasper, because I don't want to show the wrong one. I just found a very nice one on Reverb, which I will share, but it probably isn't the same one that we're talking about. This looks really nice though. Let me show this one here. Just make sure I got the right screen. Here we go. Screen. Yeah, is this what you're talking about, Jim? This looks very pretty. Look at the headstock. And the pins are interesting, aren't they? The way they're spaced out. Like I said, I'm not an expert in 12 strings. I've never owned one. I like the sound of a 12 string. I guess I wouldn't play it for a whole show. I tend to look for guitars that I would use for a whole show. Like I'd love to own a nylon guitar, a 12 string steel string guitar. I don't have a ukulele anymore. I'd love to own all those instruments just to have them here. But I tend to gravitate towards a 6-string acoustic and a 6-string electric because that's what I just play all my stuff on. Maybe that will change one day. So he says, look for Harmony 12 string Sears. Okay, let's look up that. Harmony 12 string Sears Roebuck SR. I like the fact it's a vintage one. I'm really into my vintage guitars these days. Has it got the Batman pickguard? Yeah, definitely. If you have a new guitar day, definitely send me the link because I'll be just surfing on Reverb forever, which is what I do anyway. To be fair, that's fine. I don't know. There's so many that come up like that, and they're all completely different. So I don't know. They do look cool though. So they were actually made for Sears, right? The store. That's interesting. Yeah. So if you can email me the link or email me the picture, and I can show that. That'd be great. David Eidelberg, look out. What's he saying about the QC? Has a long way to go to deliver what they initially promised. That's true. That's a good point. They messed up there by saying it's going to have X, Y, and Z, and it didn't have any of them. If they just said, look, it's not going to have much at launch. It's going to have the amp tones and the capture feature. That's it. We'll add more stuff later on. That's one thing. But to say it's going to launch with an editor, a computer editor, and it didn't, I think that's naughty. I think that's bad. Michelle, good to see you here. Late to the party. You are late, but only fashionably late because it's only 1:26. That's good. Don't be early like David. That's not cool. Actually, that is cool. I guess on a live stream, it's cool to be early, and in real life, it's cool to be late. Or so they tell me. I don't go to parties, so I don't know. Not anymore, anyway. It's got a slotted headstock. Okay, well, like I said, send me a picture either right now or I'll show it next week. People don't want to sit and watch me look for photographs live. Mark Henry says, New Gear Day, have a new Fender Champ 57 reissue. Can't wait to get home and try it. We got a lot of new gear coming in this week. It's not even Christmas yet. Wow. Fender Champ 57 reissue. Fender Champ 57 reissue. I've never tried a Fender Champ either. That's really cool. Let me take a look on the web and see what this is all about as well. This is fun. This is not good for my gear, my gas gear. Fender Champ is a 1x8 8-inch speaker. That's a small one. 5-watt tube amp. That's cool. 5 watts. So that should break up very quickly, right? Here it is. Just over $1,000, but it's a 57 reissue. Is this the one you got, the custom? That's nice. Let me see what controls you've got on there. Oh, very simple. Okay, so instruments 1 or 2, a volume control on or off. That's what we like, right? You turn it on, you put it on 12. Oh, it goes to 12. You see, most if you don't know, if you don't play electric guitar, most electric guitar amps obviously go to 10, right? And then there's this whole joke on the movie Spinal Tap where it goes to 11. Well, on the Fender Champ, it actually goes to 12. So that's one, and they say 11 is one better than 10, so 12 must be one better than 11. So you made a good purchase here. This is great. And who needs those tone controls, right? That's on the guitar. It's in the fingers. You don't need treble, middle, and bass. So you just plug in, you turn it to 12, and you play. I'm half kidding, but I'm sure it sounds great. I do like simple amps. I like simple amps when they work with my guitar. The problem with a simple amp that doesn't work with your guitar and pickups is you then have to add more stuff to shape the tone. If you've got a guitar that you can plug straight into a simple amp like that and turn it up and just play, I think that's the best thing ever. It just doesn't usually work out that way for me. You know, it's a hard combination to find, isn't it? You find exactly the right gear that works together, especially if you have a couple of guitars or a couple of amps, because then it's kind of impossible to make everything work with each other. But yeah, if you can plug in, or if you've got a pedal board with some pedals on it and shape your tone, that's a cool way to go. Yeah, it looks really cool. I never played that one. Congratulations on New Gear Day. David Eidelberg says a Variax acoustic will give you access to all of those sounds. That sounds like he works for Line 6 now. So yeah, the Variax acoustic, we've been talking about these. They have one in New York, David, so I was going to go and try it. But anyway, the Variax acoustic has 12-string feature, octave below feature, small body guitar, large body guitar. It has some of the features that I wish the Acoustasonic had. Like you can change all the tunings. You have a 12-string mode. You have like a virtual capo. You have a banjo. Not that I want a banjo, but you have all these different sounds and different tunings, which the Acoustasonic doesn't have the different tunings. And I think that's really a cool thing. Jim sent a pic. Cool. Thanks, Jim. I'll show that in a second. Harmony made that guitar for Sears. That's mean, David. He says a 12-string with a slotted headstock sounds like his worst nightmare. Now, I gotta admit, restringing a 12-string guitar doesn't fill me with excitement, but then I'm sure it's worth it once you play it and get that sound out of it. David says, congratulations. And David says 1100. Well, David, that is for the custom reissue. My custom Princeton, the retail on that is like 2200, and that's a low wattage amp too. So, hey, it sounds great. It's worth it. I got another question. Let me show this picture before I go to the next question. Just checking emails, 1 second. Now, are you excited for my unboxing today? Can you guess what I'm unboxing? On the head cam. You've seen my unboxings with the head cam, right? The guitar unboxings. Can you guess what today's unboxing will be that I'm posting after the show? I have to edit it and upload it. It won't be for a few hours, but let's see if anyone can guess what I'm unboxing today on the channel. And I didn't receive the picture, but it might still be coming through the interwebs. So I will hold on a second for that. Let's go to Jasper's question and come back again. Okay. Do you think playing loud is important, or is a soft and sweet technique better than and then just amplify it? Hang on. Who needs a plectrum or a pick? I play very melodic but not loud whatsoever. Do you think playing loud is important? This is a tough one. Obviously there's some personal preference here. Now, on a technical level, Jasper, people will say you shouldn't play too hard, right? If you play hard, you get buzzing. If we talk about acoustic here, right? You play hard, you get buzzing. You can mess up the intonation, all this kind of stuff. So obviously you want to be able to play. You want to be able to play soft and hard. But a lot of people will say playing soft and relaxed is the way to go. And this makes me think of singers as well. I was actually thinking about this yesterday with singers. I was reading about Roy Orbison, and someone said he went to the studio and he sang his track, and they were expecting Roy Orbison to like pin him against the wall with his voice, because when you hear him on the radio, it sounds massive. But actually the way he's singing in mixed voice is very light. And in the room with him, it's not that loud. In fact, he doesn't even move his mouth much, right? It's not a lot of sound there. But once you mic that up and put it through the production and through your stereo at home, it sounds massive. And I'm not saying he didn't have a great voice. He's one of the greatest singers ever. I'm saying he didn't do what you thought he was doing. A bit like heavy metal singers, right? When you hear them scream, they're not literally shredding their voice apart. They're using technique. So yeah, I would say soft and controlled is a good thing. You then go on to say about using a pick. I mean, that's just a different technique. Some people don't play with a pick at all. They use their fingers, so they don't get as much volume. Ed Sheeran strums with his fingers. He doesn't use a pick when he strums. I can't really get into that. I think it's cool. And again, it still sounds loud because he's through a PA system. If you're playing in a room with no PA, then you need a pick. A pick becomes your amplifier, right? There's not really an answer. You play how you want to play. I would say practice doing both. Ultimately, you want to use the technique that inspires you and shows off your music in the best way. I like to do both. I like to do fingerstyle with no pick. I like to play with it. I use a heavy pick. I like that loud driving rhythm in the room, I have to admit. But it can cause me problems. It can cause buzzing and things like that. When I record, I try not to do that. When I record, I try to play lighter and cleaner. And that's very important. So I don't think playing loud is important. And I don't think either one is better. And what I do think is that you need, or I say we because I'm guilty of not doing this. We need dynamics, right? We mustn't just play at the same volume all the time. It gets boring. The ear needs to hear like the soft verse and then the loud chorus. Tommy Emmanuel was just on an interview with Rick Beato. I'm sure you saw it. It's fantastic. And when he's playing, you can hear that each note is a different volume. And Rick says to him, Tommy, how come your playing is so dynamic? That's the word, dynamic. And Tommy says, I listen to people like Frank Sinatra. When Frank Sinatra sings, he doesn't just sing at one level. Each word is differently expressed and a different volume. And that's what makes it so interesting. It's not like a keyboard where everything's just the same dynamics and the same volume. It's every note is thought and expressed. So if you really want to get into that, then listen to people like Frank Sinatra, listen to Tommy Emmanuel play his ballads and the way he plays with the volume. And the great thing about watching Tommy at a concert is he'll bring it down really soft, playing with his fingers like a harp technique. And then he'll rock out and get his heavy pick out and lay into it. So you get that variation. For me, the variation is important. And it's something that I always have to tell myself. I always have to remind myself, like at a gig, it's so easy to get carried away and just thrash the guitar. But it's so important to bring that down and bring it up. And you can practice that too. Like next time you play a song, deliberately play the verse softer and the chorus louder, and really think about the volume at certain points. Like what am I doing with dynamics? I think I don't want to say a lot of people forget about this. I think it's easy to forget about dynamics, especially if you're nervous or you're not used to performing, or if you're used to performing but you get carried away. It's very easy just to forget all about dynamics and just thrash your guitar. Especially, actually talking about volume, especially if your PA isn't loud enough. What happens is, when I played those gigs where they keep asking you to turn it down, and don't say you haven't had this happen to you too, it sucks, right? You know when they say, can you keep turning it down, turn it down, turn it down? What happens is it gets so quiet in the room, and you've got an audience talking, that you can't hear yourself. So you end up overplaying everything because you can't get into it anymore. You can't hear the music, so you just play as loud as you can to hear something from the guitar and from the PA, and that's when you lose all your dynamics. If you have a PA system that's set at a really loud volume, then you can play really soft, or you can play medium, and you've got the ability at some points to play really loud, or not really loud. Even at loud, you're still going to get that loud sound, but you've got all that different. You've got all the different options. You don't. That's the wrong word, but when you are forced to play through a quiet PA system, all you can do is play hard in order to have it sound soft. If you play through a PA system I'm not talking crazy loud, but a good, decent volume where if you really played heavy, it'd be too loud, then you can back off and play loud and it's perfect, or you can go really soft and you can still feel it, you can still get into it. So I think the range is most important here, to have all the different, quiet, medium, loud, very loud, so the listener doesn't get bored. I hope that's what you were talking about. You see, David has a real 65 Princeton. Wow. It's had it maintained by the tech. Sounds awesome. Quiet as a mouse. That's nice. My amp isn't as quiet as a mouse. It's pretty quiet though. My noisiest amps are the ones with all the stuff in them, like 3 channels, MIDI, all that. So I think the more stuff they add to an amp with all the things packed together, the more chance you get for noise. Okay. I got lots of comments here. Let me go to the picture. Did you send it to the right address? Because I don't have it. Hang on, I'm going to check one more time. Nope, I don't have it. So let me put the address on the screen again. Make sure you send it to the correct address. Say hi at aaronshortmusic.com. So just try one more time. All right. A request for a demo of the Rode 3 guitar tuner. Okay. I'll add that to my list. Whenever you ask me to review something and I haven't used it, I haven't tried it, I then send an email to the company and say, and I like that you're doing this because it's better for me. First of all, I don't know about all these products, so I don't know to even think about them. And then when I do know about them, it's better for me to say to the company that someone requested that I check it out on my channel than to say I want to check it out, right? Because it shows that people are interested in it. So I will email them, and I do this every time lately, and no one yet has accepted. Maybe as I get more subscribers, it will happen, hopefully. But that's the way I'm doing it, Jim. Stuff like that. So I will email Rode and ask them if I can try the Rode guitar tuner. I think I know what you're talking about. I think it's the one where you stick it on the tuner and you set it to like the low E and it just tunes the string, a bit like the old robot guitars used to do, but without sticking stuff on your guitar. So I'll make a note of that. Is the Champ hand-wired? Yes, it is. And there's a great idea for a video. Hand-wired versus PCB amplifiers. David says Variax also has nylon. That's cool because the electric Variax does not have nylon sounds. In fact, not many people have done nylon sound in guitars. Well, at least in electric guitars. No, what am I talking about? In acoustic modeling guitars, they usually seem to avoid the nylon sounds. So that's cool. Hi, Ricardo. Good to see you. Oh, going to see Genesis tonight. That's cool. I can't dance. I can't walk. The only thing about me is the way that I talk. Playing soft and hard gives different tone, depends on the song. Yes, good point. Thanks for the answer. Yeah, definitely. Like, if you enjoy playing soft and that's the tone that you like, then play soft. Some people only like to play hard, right? Some people like to play punk on their acoustic. That's fine too. I think the best thing for me is to try to embrace all of it, especially if you're doing a performance. A performance has to be interesting. Another good thing I heard this week someone say was about surprise. I think this is all from Rick Beato, by the way, but he's got a great channel. But that thing of surprise. So you're playing a song and you throw a note in there that, or something in there, could be anything, that the audience isn't expecting, and it makes them listen. Oh, what's that? I think that's cool too. And you can do it with effects too, like the way I use the TC Helicon pedal to do the harmonies. If someone's listening to me play as a solo act and they suddenly hear that harmony come in, it's a similar thing. Like, oh, where'd that harmony come from? It just adds an element of surprise and keeps the performance interesting. Ricardo says, I don't even own a pick. So the picks that I recommend, and I've used for years, are the Jazz 3 XL. They're on the larger side. I have to cover my face for you to see it. They are on the larger side. They're very thick. And, you know, when we start playing the acoustic, we tend to use the thin picks because we feel like that's easier. And they are good for certain things and for recording. But I love these really thick picks like this because what you can do, this is how I use it. I should probably make a video on this, but I hold it very lightly when I'm strumming. And then I grip it when I'm playing single notes. And then you get to do both things. Because playing single notes with a thin pick isn't very good for me. Stardance, you might want to try a Guild BT258E octave D and G. I just got one. It's very cool. Gives a little 12 touch with a heavy bass tune. B to B. Taylor is a better choice with a cutaway and all solid. I've not played a Guild, I have to admit. David hates playing without dynamics. A band without dynamics sucks. Yeah, I agree. I agree, but I feel like some people like that, so I'm not gonna, you know, like modern music is compressed so much, there's no dynamics anymore, right? You listen to the old jazz recordings and it's all dynamics. Like I said, Sinatra was the master of that. Exactly, the Ramones, except the Ramones. The Ramones didn't care about the dynamics, so that works for them. Let's see if that email came through. No. One more time. No email, no picture. I will show it next week. If you send it through, I'll show it on next week's show. Okay, let me get to my next question. So the next question I had was about the Maton diesel guitar. I want to talk about this guitar. Hi, Aaron. I read somewhere you used to play a Maton EMD diesel for a few years. What do you think? Is it a good acoustic guitar? And plugged in, is it comfortable to play fingerpicking? I'm considering buying one used. I have to order it online and don't have the possibility to try it out first. I'd like to hear from you. Thanks in advance. So, this is from Paul. And this is cool. You're buying it used. So, just get a good deal and then you can always sell it on if it doesn't work for you. And that's the thing with gear, isn't it? You want to try it yourself. But you've asked for my opinion, so you will get my opinion. The Maton Diesel Special. I'll tell you my story of the Maton Diesel Special. It's where I first really heard about Maton. Of course, I'd heard of Tommy Emmanuel, but I'd never owned a Maton until this point. So, the Maton Diesel Special is a small body, 3/4 size guitar. Let me show it to you. This picture on the Maton website doesn't really do it justice, I feel. I don't feel this really does it justice, but we'll look at it anyway. So, it's very small, which means it's cheaper, more affordable than the other Matons. And I used to run a music night, and I saw an Australian fantastic performer play one of these guitars on stage with an AER amp. I guess he brought it because he was traveling in from Australia, right? And I just thought it sounded great. I thought it looked cool, and I wanted one, so I went looking for one. Now, I bought one, and the first one I bought, I think I felt it had a problem, and my guitar tech at the time felt it had a problem. So Maton were very good. They actually switched it out for me. So the second one that I got from them is the one that I then had. This particular one I had doesn't have the microphone like my big Maton has now. This one, although you can get it with a microphone, I'm told. This one that I had the AP5 with no mic. And I've got to say, I love this guitar. And this is one of those guitars that I wish I hadn't sold, right? There's a few negatives here, and there's a few, quirky things. So first of all, it's a 3/4 size guitar, so it's very easy to carry it around. It comes in a hard shell case, which is great. And I found a case by Cordoba. It was silver, and the guitar fit perfectly in that case. And it then meant I could carry that around so easily. It was so light, and on a plane, it would go under the seat. So that became the guitar that I would travel around with, and I flew with it a lot too when I used to come to America before I moved here. It sounded great plugged in. The bass player, my duo, loved it because it wasn't too heavy on the bass because of the body size. And everything was great. Now, the intonation wasn't perfect, and I feel like on a 3/4 size guitar, it's hard to get perfect intonation. I mean, it's hard to get perfect intonation on any acoustic guitar, let alone a 3/4 size. At least that's what I was told. I would string it with 13s, and that's because you've got that short scale, so the 13s made it feel like 12s on a regular guitar. So that was all great. Pickup worked great. Long battery life. A big fan of the AP5 system, as you know. I'm trying to think of more things here. And yeah, that's one of the longest standing guitars I ever used. I must have used it for 5 years. When I moved to America, it was the guitar that paid the bills. It was great. That and an AER amp. Wasn't a huge fan of the AER to sing through, but that guitar really did me proud. And here's the funny thing. I'm 6'4.5", so that guitar looked really funny on me. And that was actually a good thing, because people would say to me, "Oh, that guitar looks small on you," or "You got a toy guitar," and they'd really comment on it. We were talking earlier about the surprise thing with music. Well, that was a surprise thing as a performer. Like, I was known as the tall guy with the little guitar, and I think that was a cool thing. I do. The only complaint I have looking back is the playability, because it is so small. I feel like with the Taylor GS Mini, which is also a great guitar, by the way, the GS Mini feels more like, on the fretboard, the space between the frets feels more like I keep saying regular guitar. You know what I mean? Like an OM28, like a full scale guitar. The diesel does feel a bit like a toy, and unplugged it does sound a bit like a toy. Not that it's got bad tone, but it's not very loud because it's a small body. There again, it means it won't feed back on stage. This is a travel guitar this is a travel stage guitar. I've got to say, though, I absolutely love mine. I've been thinking, because this last couple of years, I did kind of look for gear that I used to own and tried to buy it again. A lot of it is now discontinued, and I bought it on the used market, which you've probably seen on my channel. And then I did end up, I think the things I sold in the past, I sold for the right reasons. Like, I sold my retro Maton, and I then bought that used one from Guitar Center. I then realized that it wasn't really what I wanted and sold it again. I got my money back, so buying used is great. With the Rain, it's different with these guitars. With the Rain Song, the first one I had, I gigged it so hard for a year, like every night, that I had to get a refret, and rather than refret it, I sold it, and then I got the new Rain Song. I actually, in a way, prefer the tone of my old Rain Song, maybe because it was short scale, I don't know, but it was great. But I like the looks of my new Rain Song. And I do love the new Rain Song, but that old Rain Song was a very great guitar. I should have kept it. I should have kept this really for nostalgia, because it was something that really got me going with gigs and moving countries. It had a lot of stories to it. I played it in Chicago, Ohio for friends, and all these. I wrote songs on it. I remember, again, same thing. It was getting time for a refret. I've really worn through it, because it's such a small guitar, and I do play with a heavy pick. I've really worn through it. I should have just kept it around, and I didn't. So I think if I found a nice one of these in the future, I'd like to get another one, mainly for nostalgia, but it also is a great guitar. I really believe lately, if you do a gig, you should have a backup guitar. So if you have something like this, so easy to take as a backup because it's so small and so light, and just put it in the car. And obviously they're more affordable than the full-size Matons as well. I highly recommend it, but just bear in mind what you're getting here. You're getting a 3/4 size guitar, It's not going to sound like a dreadnought, obviously. I mean, an OM doesn't sound like a dreadnought. This doesn't sound like an OM. It is a little bit cramped on the fingerboard, and yeah, it's not. I'm actually surprised that people like Ed Sheeran don't play these because he loves his mini guitars. This would be killer for him. I don't know why he's got a whole thing with Loudon now, but I don't know why more people don't play these. It's great. I highly rate it. I'd like to get another one. I think you should get one, but just bear in mind what you're getting, okay? I wouldn't get this as my only acoustic guitar or even my only stage guitar. I would get this. I personally would get this as a backup and travel guitar. It could be your main stage guitar, but I think if you want something you can also play in the room and record with, you're going to want something a bit bigger. So either the Nashville Maton or an OM Martin with an Anthem. But it is a seriously cool guitar, and I reckon it gets my stamp of approval. You know what I'm doing lately? I'm approving any gear that I've played and I succeeded with. Like if I play a gig and make a load of tips and get asked back regularly, that gear is good, in my opinion. It's very easy to focus on the negatives and say, oh, well, it doesn't sound amazing unplugged and the intonation wasn't perfect. Oh, no, don't get, look for something perfect. It's so easy to do that. The fact is, I owned this for 5 years. It didn't let me down. It didn't miss a beat. The batteries lasted forever. Like a year of playing every night. It earned me, it paid my rent, it paid my bills, it got me to another country. If that isn't a stamp of approval on a piece of gear, then nothing is, right? So I'm so glad you asked that question today on Facebook. And yeah, actually next time, if you've got a question, please email it to me so I can keep them all in one place. Say hi at aaronshortmusic.com. But I'm so glad you asked about it because I do have a personal connection with this guitar and I recommend it. But whether it's right for you, only you can tell. So if you can get a used one, just make sure you get a good price on it so you can sell it on if it doesn't work out. But yeah, I highly recommend it, and do string it up with the 13s because it's a short scale. So I hope that answers your question. If my answers for your questions today were useful, then I'm going to throw my buy me a coffee link in the chat because running out of coffee again. No, just kidding. If you want to support the channel, you can do that, or I have super chat and super thanks now as well. And so if you're watching after the fact, you can send a super thanks. Again, only if my answer was useful to you. If you're watching this, who sent this question in? It was Paul. Paul, if that was helpful to you and you end up buying the guitar, then you can buy me a coffee. And if you don't buy the guitar, then why didn't you buy the guitar? I'm just rambling now. Also, if you're buying gear and want to support me without buying me a coffee, you can use my affiliate links below. I have Sweetwater, Amazon, and Thomann, and you can click on those links and buy anything, and I get commission at no cost to you. You were talking about buying this guitar used. If you're buying it on Reverb, I have a Reverb link as well. Same thing. If you're buying on Reverb, you can click the link, then buy the guitar, and I'll get commission from Reverb. So that's pretty cool. All right, so I'm not going to go on too long today because I want to edit my video and get it posted. So let me know if you've got any other questions you want me to answer. They're the two that I got sent in this week, and I'll just go through the ones in the chat. So, hi Joe, how you doing? I once tested a load of picks, metal, wood, plastic, thick and thin. I settled on the Dunlop Prime Tone, 1.5mm. I found a thicker pick gives better tone. I use the point for runs, riffs, and spin it around. I agree. I don't spin mine around. I did try the Prime Tone because someone said they're very similar to the Jazz 3. I tried the 1mm Prime Tone. This is a 1mm. I thought it was very similar to this. I've just used this for so many years. I decided to stick with this. I just love this so much. Maybe it's because I'm used to it, but I do love it. And that is a good point about using different sides for different sounds. That's a good point. I don't tend to do that right now, but I know people do. I know on the Maton pick that I reviewed a few months ago, that was the whole point, pardon the pun. The whole point was to use each corner for a different sound, right? Jasper says, do you think the alternating bass style with a melody at the same time will keep listeners more interested than just strumming? And also, do you use the brushing technique during fingerpicking? Well, I think to be able to play instrumentally, alternating bass and melody without having to sing is a great thing, great skill to have, and it's something that I continue to work on. But for me, for what I do, it's not... how do I say this? There's a couple of things here. I think the alternating bass style is suitable for certain styles of music more than others. I can't imagine playing Wonderwall. Let me take Wonderwall as an example here for what I do, right? I'm playing in a restaurant. I couldn't play Wonderwall fingerstyle. I don't think it would work. I'm sure some virtuosos could, but I don't think it would work. I could record the chords and loop the melody, and I've done things like that in the past. But I think for what I do as a singer, they want to hear the strumming and the singing. That's what's going to work the best for what I'm doing there. Now, if you don't sing and you play the kind of music that lends itself to that alternating bass thing, like Freight Train, songs like that, then of course, it's almost essential, isn't it? I've done a couple of shows where I've only played without a mic, without singing, and I've done a combination of alternate picking to get the melody in, and also using my loop pedal to record and loop over the top. I did like a combination of the two styles. Let me just go back to your question so I don't get too derailed here. Yeah, I mean, if you're not singing, you want the melody in there. Otherwise, it's not a song. It's just a bunch of chords, right? So you definitely want to work. If you don't want to sing, and I think everyone should learn to sing. I think everyone can learn to sing. Now, if you don't want to sing, that's different. So then don't. But then if you're going to only play the guitar and you want to do solo performances, if you're not going to have a singer with you or a lead instrument with you, you need to play the melody, because the melody is the melody, right? It's the song. So yeah, it's really important at that point to do songs like that. I would also look into using a loop pedal, because that opens up a lot of different styles as well. And then you can do things with that, a combination of all that. But yeah, definitely. If you're playing solo guitar, then fingerstyle and playing arrangements with the melody and the backing is incredibly important. Do I use the brushing technique during fingerpicking? No, I don't. I strum about 70% of the time, and when I fingerpick, I Travis pick about 25% of the time, and then the other 5% is just maybe brushing strings and flicking on the strings and some tapping, things like that. But no, I wouldn't say I use that as part of my technique. No. What didn't I like about my vocals through the AER? I really like the punch clarity vocal through mine. That's an interesting one. So I had the AER Compact XL. I should have got the 60, but I got the XL. I later on sold that and got the Alpha, and then I sold that and got the 60. That was a really weird one, Joe. With my voice and maybe the mic I was using, I used a few different mics with that. I found it was really harsh, really honky, and made my ear tired and fatigued. And yet, I remember one night I took it to a bar and rented it to a female singer. There was a female singer with a drummer or something. They rented that as a PA, and it sounded wonderful. It sounded incredible. Filled the room, sounded soft and natural and really warm. With my voice, it just brought out this harsh frequency, and of course, there's no way to dial that out. Don't know if it's the crossover, the speaker, some incompatibility. Remember, it's not just about me saying this is the thing to buy. You've got to factor in your voice type, the microphone you're using, the room you're playing in, and the style of music that you play. Maybe because where my voice sits as a baritone, it hits right where that harsh frequency was. Maybe it was because I was standing next to it and I was hearing reflections coming out of the casing. I don't know. I just know I don't love singing through it. It's okay, and I used it for years, but I much prefer singing through an actual full range PA speaker these days. Have you or anyone on chat tried the Udo Rosner amps, the Capo 75 combo? Think about getting one next year. I met him at NAMM. Just before we locked down, I went to that NAMM show and I met Udo. He was quite a character. He was a nice guy though, very cool. And that's when he just released it to Capo. He used to be part of AER, if you don't know. He left and made his own company. AER are still going, but it's very different products. In fact, I tried the AER pickup and it was a really weird design. It wouldn't fit in the guitar. And I said to Udo, what's up with that pickup, that AER pickup? Doesn't even fit in the guitar. And he got quite, I would say he got quite mad, but he was trying to explain to me that it's not the same as the one they used to make. The new AER changed it, and he now has his own pickups, and I haven't tried them yet. That could be a good thing to feature on the channel at some point, his pickups and amps. He was very cool to talk to, and I'd love to chat with him more. He obviously knows his stuff. And, you know, nothing against AER amps. The AER compact amps are fantastic guitar amplifiers. They even sound pretty good with electric guitar, I found. But for my voice, I just didn't find that particular amp particularly compatible with my voice. I'd much rather sing through something like the JBL Eon Compact, the Bose S1 Pro, or something like a QSC K12, K10 or K8 as well. David says, my travel guitar is a Journey overhead carbon fiber. Journey OF660. Yeah, see, a lot of people now when you talk about travel guitars will go for these ones that fold up, or the really tiny ones. But I like the Maton. I think the main thing with the Maton I liked about it was the pickup system. It's got the AP5 Pro pickup, which is a great pickup system. I'm just checking out that Journey right now. So this is $1,400 bucks. I mean, that's not exactly cheap, David. Then again, I suppose it's composite, it's carbon fiber, so that's fair enough. Oh, you get different colors as well. That's cool. I haven't tried these. I've heard of Journey. Someone did ask me to check out the Journey pickup, the passive pickup, and I reached out to them and they couldn't at the time send me one to try. So they said that might happen in the future. So that'd be cool. Yeah, that's cool. It fits into a backpack and then it unfolds into basically a full-size guitar. I have tried a Journey actually. I think it was a Journey. I've tried one where the neck attaches, and that had a K&K with the mic system in it. It was a friend of mine was selling it. That actually sounded really good, to be fair. Yeah, I haven't tried it, but I still like that. I still like the Maton, even though this probably sounds better when you've unpacked it all into a guitar. Probably sounds better. It still looks a little bit big, I guess. But I guess it's a full size. Yeah, it's cool. I want to try it. But you know what? I like the Maton brand and I like the Maton pickup, so that's why I get so excited about that guitar. But yeah, that looks cool. Jasper's got to go. Before I do, you will fall in love with a song by Jason Isbell called Danko Manuel. It's a tribute to the band called The Band. I know the band. Can't wait to hear you play it. Okay, is that a request, Jasper? Thanks. I'll check it out. I've got to learn David Bowie for Saturday. Let's dance. I'm an AER fan, and there didn't seem to be enough difference to make it worth buying. I was surprised AER hadn't locked down the patents. So Joe, you tried the Capo? There's a couple of things with the design on the Capo 75 that I thought was not an improvement, like the bag, and a couple of features on the amp that I thought were not as good in a way. But then people are saying it sounds really good. I don't know. I'd have to try it myself. Check your email. Okay, we'll finish with that picture, Jim. That was just an example. Wonderwall was just an example, okay? It's so funny how musicians hate on that song, and yet whenever I play it at a show, no one ever hates on it. Everyone always loves it. It's always well received. And lately I've been doing a mashup with Old Town Road as well. Old Town Road, that our friend the Real Ting told me a few weeks ago he does that. It does indeed match up very well. So next time you sing Wonderwall, sing Old Town Road over the top of it. It's very cool. And you might just get some more tips. You might not. Don't blame me. I'm checking the email one more time. I got a bad feeling I'm not going to get it. Isn't technology wonderful? See, this is why I play tube amps and acoustic guitars. No, not really. So no one guessed what I'm going to be unboxing this evening. I'm very disappointed. That's fine though. You'll be surprised when I post it later on. Make sure you watch it and tell me what you think. I didn't get the email still. It may take like Emails don't usually take a long time to come through, Jim, but maybe it will take a while to come through for some reason. If it does come through, we'll show it next week. Remind me next week to show it on the stream, okay? And we'll show it then. Yeah, it's not there. All right, so thanks for watching. I'm going to keep today's episode to an hour because I've got a video to edit, some gear to list, and also some other videos I'm working on as well, so I can list some more stuff. And thank you for your time. Thank you for your questions. I really appreciate it. It's really fun, as always. And thank you for the picture, Jim. I didn't get it. If we get it, again, remind me next week. We'll show it on next week's stream. And that's really cool. So yeah, watch out. I'm going to be editing a video to post later on today. And I'll be live Sunday with my concert, as always. Oh, do me a favor and go and check out the Christmas song I just released with Peter Gregg last week. I also reviewed the 0018 Maton, which was fun. And yeah, I'm trying to catch up on videos now, so watch out for those. All right, I'm going to say goodbye. Take care, be well. Make sure you subscribe and ring the bell. Help me get to my goal of 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
I'm not